Good morning, friends, chess players, and welcome back. Today we're resuming the educational games format, but this time I'm adding a small challenge for myself. I will have to explain things during the game. In other words, we'll try to apply the infamous 3 questions from the book The Positional Play by Agard. Together with Mauro, I've also talked to you about this book on the Duo Tori channel. Actually, I had already mentioned it on my own channel as well in one of the first videos from last year. Let's say in this book, this method of the 3 questions is put into practice. What are these 3 questions? Where are the weaknesses? What is the worst piece in the position? And what is the opponent's idea? Today we'll play an instructive game, trying, let's say, to apply these 3 questions. So I'll try to do something like that, a bit more practical. Let's hope we have a few minutes, 10 minutes. I'm playing white. I'll start moving already because let's say, obviously, we need to making a virtue out of necessity. As for the time, my opponent is rated 1987, about 2000, okay? In the meantime, let's play the opening quickly. Let's always try to play this Scotch Gambit, which of course they never let us play. It's been 4 games that I've been trying to show it to you. The Scotch Gambit, they never let us play it, so let's go for this Philidor instead, obviously, in the opening. Oh my, what a terrible thing. They've already given me a gift. The bishop pair, of course. So what we're going to try to do now is ask ourselves the 3 questions in the opening. It doesn't help much. We're a bit out of the opening here, so let's start asking ourselves the 3 questions. Where are the weaknesses? I'll point them out to you right away. Certainly one weakness is here and the other weakness, he just moved his bishop out. And obviously it's here. We could maybe even say that e5 is a minor weakness too. So at this point, what's the worst piece? Well, right now we're still in the opening, so you can't really talk about a worst piece yet. What's the opponent's idea? Again, we're still in the opening, so there isn't one yet. But we make this move to attack the weaknesses. He plays knight here, so let's make an interesting move and see how he responds. Queen to b3. Directly attacking the 2 weaknesses in his position, the b7 square and the f7 square. You see, that's a mistake on his part. In about 3 seconds, he's already made some significant moves. I mean, you've got 10 minutes on the clock, my friend. Take a moment to think, right? Because you've already given up the pair of bishops. There are some good... See, now you start thinking. When the tactical blow lands, that's when you start thinking. Karpov once said, there's a funny anecdote. He played with a kid from the club, let's say the organizer's kid. And then the organizer asked, "So, what do you think of our boy?" And Karpov replied, "Well, yes, he saw everything, but one move too late." A wonderful comment. And in this case too, my opponent, you see, there's a move of delay. That is, you shouldn't start thinking here. You should start thinking on the previous move, because by this point, I'm already putting you under tactical pressure and let's say putting you in difficulty. I don't even know if he can defend everything here because he might be able to launch some counterattacks, right? Okay, queen to d7. So, all right, he decided to give up material. Obviously, I imagine we'll take it. The queen captures the pawn on the b7 square, and that looks like a solid move. And now, as you can see, you give a check to the rook, my friend. Even that is possible. Okay, but let's not rush. Be careful. I mean, I don't want to make the mistake of rushing because there might be ideas with this one, I'm a bit behind in development, so let's be careful. Where are the weaknesses? I definitely have a weakness. Here, the weakness of the king, which is my worst piece. Well, at the moment, definitely the king because he's got some problems. What is my opponent's idea? To try to tactically use his pieces to possibly compensate for the loss of the rook. So I don't just go straight ahead and take the rook, but I try to think for a moment. Let's try to think for a moment. You know what? Now I'm going to make an extremely bad move because surely here the best line would be to take the rook, but that's a risk-free move. So I play bishop to b5, attacking the queen. The only move is c6. I'll exchange queens, and now I'll bring the bishop back here to defend the pawn. And let me tell you, my friend, besides the fact that I have the bishop pair and an extra pawn, exactly how do you compensate for these 2 things? You don't compensate for them, and white has the advantage. I repeat, I definitely should have taken the rook, but we also want to try to be educational. At this point, finally, we can get our king to safety, and we can honestly enjoy this position, which is a bit comfortable. All right, I'd say we put this here. I don't see why not. h6, h4 if he plays g5. Relax, why aren't you thinking? This is the mistake that many blitz players make. Then when they lose a piece or a pawn, they start thinking, but you need to think before, not after. Okay, which is the worst placed piece? Definitely this knight, which now wants to, let's say, get to where the weaknesses are. The square on e5 is definitely a weak point, as is c6. What is my opponent's idea? Actually, at this moment, maybe playing knight to h5, but knight to h5, I don't know if I should avoid it. I should play h3. But honestly, here I want to prioritize my development. So knight to d2 with the idea, you see, of targeting his weak point. So I've identified the weakness. Now I'm going to target it. In my opinion, here he has to play knight to h5 because otherwise, okay, he played well. Knight to h5, well done. Well done, well done, well done for playing knight to h5. It was a good move, but we're going to do it anyway now. No, knight to b3. It's not worth it for me. I'll put it on c4 because then maybe I want to reposition it and aim. You see, where are the weaknesses? The f5 square, so knight here. So maybe I'll put a rook there first. I'll put a rook there first. Which rook of the two? Which rook of the two? Okay, there shouldn't be any attacks here. So let's put this one. Let's put this one. And now knight to e3, knight f5. Obviously another interesting idea in my position, right? In all this, as you know, I have a little extra pawn. So let's say we're very, very comfortable. Knight takes g3 is coming. We capture. He'll try to play h5, h4. Speaking of my opponent's idea. Now between rook h8, h5, h4. And so let's say I go as fast as possible. Now I'll try to bring this knight to f5, which is obviously an interesting piece. It controls g3, controls h4, controls the king. Okay, knight. Here I didn't really get this move because yes, maybe you want to put the knight on e6, but okay, let's play knight here. I imagine you have to capture because knight to f5 is a big threat. But if you capture, obviously I'll end up with a position where I have a clean extra pawn without, let's say, any apparent compensation. So, okay, king f7. King f7, yeah, king f7. Obviously, I won't need to be told twice. The knight comes here, king g6, okay? Well, I'd say it's time to play very simply. So now we can finally play rook to d1, contesting the file. We still have the extra pawn, and the knight is in a strong position. Where are the weaknesses? We've already eliminated them here. What is my opponent's plan? And which is the worst piece? It was the knight, which now wants to become the best piece. Here. It wants to become the best piece here. Well, then why not play our c3? He plays rook to d7. We're not afraid of this rook. d7. I'd say bishop to c4. You've earned it. And now let's go conquer the file because obviously we're attacking the knight. So let's say you have to do something. You can't play rook to d8. And so we also take control of the file. Small advantages, small advantages. As the next idea, of course, we'll also start pushing b4 and a4. Why not? Let's see what he plays in the meantime. Rook takes d1. Of course, that was the move. Rook takes d1. Ah, he can actually play rook to d8. Rook to d8 is annoying. Okay, fine. And he goes into this endgame. He goes into this endgame. All right, that's how it went. That's how it went. Do we have to go into it? Yeah, come on. Let's go into this endgame. Okay, I'd say the knight is nicely dominated. So let's continue dominating his pieces by playing b4. My friend, don't you care about your pieces, huh? You don't care about your pieces. My goodness, you really don't care about your pieces. Okay, what could his plan be? Again, look for weaknesses. The worst piece, the opponent's idea. To exchange this knight, so maybe he wants to play c5. Okay, but c5, knight to c6. But if we play b5, then we can easily bring in the king without any problems. As usual, I have to speed up because I find myself with less time, especially today since we did the 3 questions. It's clear that I have much less time. Ah, he finally played it, in my opinion, to defend h6. Okay, but you're being way too passive like this. You're too passive. Play c5, as I told you. I'm not going to repeat myself here, and I'll do it. b5. Knight here, and okay, I'd say at this point, okay, knight to d6 could be a problem, but let's play knight to e3. Oh god, actually we could... Okay, good, no problem. Let's make this move here. Obviously the endgame with knight against bishop dominated is a very unpleasant endgame for you. I hope for your sake you don't end up there because it's pure suffering. And the truth is that now there are too many weaknesses. Maybe I can even play g4, no, to create the weakness. Down here, maybe I can even Okay, I won't do it anymore. It's perfectly fine like this. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. I'd say that for now, let's play an a4 move. Let's take even more space. And even if the bishop endgame is the opposite, the endgame is probably very 1 now, because my king is very active and my pawn majority will force him to sacrifice this bishop down here. So now we're going to remove the blockade, okay? We're going to remove the blockade. Let's make this maneuver here for now. Now, even here, you have to be careful. You have to be very careful. That pawn, one day it's going to fall. See, he made a mistake because he set up the blockade, okay, king g5, but you're kind of ignoring the position. I'd say let's bring the knight now, knight here. You can't even play h4, by the way. Let's say the endgame just needs to be converted now, right? Now we play knight to c4. He probably has to take with king takes c4. And after that, we start pushing a 5 and b6. And his bishop obviously won't be able to do anything. Bishop e7. You see, he doesn't have many good moves to play. Now we play knight. Here we can calmly play this position with opposite colored bishops because obviously our pawns are going to promote. 336. So I still have to play with a certain speed. Let's see what he does. I strongly doubt he can play knight to b3 because I can also play a5. Actually, there's no need to go for tactics. I play a5 if he goes knight to b3. Okay, honestly, that's absolutely perfect. That's just perfect right there. I'd say, yeah, if you ask me, I'd say we should definitely go ahead and play a5. You see what I mean? It seems like the best move for us right now. I could have played knight takes a5 and gone for tactics, but I really don't see any reason to do that. Okay. I can go here, so if knight here, I can play rc2. It's more precise, Let's do it this way, let's do it this way. I could have done it. Obviously, the other move doesn't matter now either. Arc2, you have to go to the south square a1, and you even lost your knight, my friend. You play too fast. You play too fast in moments when you should be thinking. Okay, knight to a1. Obviously, this is a declaration of resignation. And in fact, here he resigns the game. There's nothing more to be done. I hope you enjoyed this format today. A particular example, in fact, taken from positional play where we tried to see where the weaknesses in the position were. Obviously, it's difficult to apply this in a fast 10-minute game while you're playing and commenting at the same time, but I hope you still enjoyed it nonetheless, and that's it as always. If you want to support this channel, subscribe, like, and leave a comment, and I'll see you in all the upcoming videos.